Hi everyone. I know we are going to have a wonderful session here. I am just beyond thrilled to be with my wonderful, beautiful friend, Kelly Kolodney, who I've had several recorded conversations with. I love her dearly. For those few of you who may not know Kelly, she's known as the Angel Lady. She's been channeling Archangel Raphael since 1989, I believe. Beautiful, beautiful, loving channelings, and I highly recommend her work. Her website I'll put below. It's theangelraphael.com. And some years ago, she channeled 55 ascended master light codes, and she is very thoroughly and lovingly teaching those. And you can join in on the ones that have passed on her website, or join in live from this point on. I think your next one is the death light code, Kelly.
It is. It's the death light code, not an easy one to share, but profound and very important. Yeah.
I think right on time, actually, right on time. And I was honored to be involved with Kelly and Amelia Ortiz at the Capricorn Solstice, December 21st. I was truly humbled and honored to be part of that event because my goodness, it was powerful. We had about, what, 12, 13,000 people live on
Yeah.
that. It was, and it felt so powerful and so emotional, actually, because you'd been building up to that all year since the Aries equinox, which was the conception point of this new consciousness that was being birthed at that Capricorn solstice. So I'd love to just ask you, as Kelly, how what was happening for you? How did you feel through all of that?
It felt deeply emotional because not only did it feel as though from the spring equinox, those 9 months till we hit that moment of birth, where we literally birthed our avatar self, truly felt almost like a lifetime of work and attunement to Archangel Raphael with me came to a culmination at that moment. And so it was deeply emotional. It felt like we as a collective stepped over a threshold, and that I was just so humbled to participate in that moment with those 13,000 people, knowing that that was the beginning of a wave of love blanketing the planet. And that we will, of course, continue now on that journey to fully embody what came through at that moment. But it was leading up to it, it just felt emotional, and I was humbled, and it also felt very potent and important. It really did. There was something very significant, even though it wasn't tangible, even though we couldn't touch it, we could feel it.
And it felt like a real crescendo. You'd been working so incredibly hard, and Archangel Raphael had talked so consistently and persistently about that kind of breakthrough in a new level of consciousness coming in. And I know many people felt it. People who weren't on that call have written and said, they really felt that shift of consciousness at that time. So, I think we have really left the tram tracks now of the old way of life. And you've also talked about this new way of living, this new wave of love coming in that potentially can unite all humanity as well and give us a new kind of perception. So I'd like to ask you, as Kelly, before we get into the channeling, anything else you can say about that, how we're going to change as humanity as we move forwards now?
What Raphael is sharing is that we're going to change pretty rapidly. These first few months of the year is sort of kind of getting us going. And then we're gonna get on that horse, which I loved at the end of the transmission, which I had no idea that that's how it would end. It ended with us on a horse, and we all galloped together to the mystery school where all of the ascended beings met us to take us on our journey to embody our avatar self. And then as I was tuning into the new year, I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's the year of the fire horse. So it couldn't be any more perfect. I was like, really? That's amazing. And so there's always a thread that Raphael carries through. We go from one code to the next, and it's not necessarily linear, it is holographic, but each one keeps leading into the next. And so now we're moving into death, which is the death of the old world, the death of what we used to know. And whether we're conscious of it or not, on a lot of levels, we're grieving how things in some ways used to be that are no longer. We may be grieving people who've passed, but it's like that last gasp of the old structures, the old patriarch, the old world as it falls away. And we are riding on that horse, as Raphael would say, and the destruction, in a sense, of the death of the old is behind us, but we're just galloping in front of it far enough that we may have a glimpse in the rearview mirror of it. Some of us won't at all. Some of us, it might feel it's right on our tail there, but we are moving forward into an entirely completely new way of being on emotional, physical, and spiritual levels. So it's deeply exciting and powerful, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it. We're going to be working with Shiva, who I've never connected with before, with the energy of time and the chakra of time, collapsing time, because as we let go of the 3D more and more, we step into our avatar self and we move into the 5D. The way that we operate in time is going to be falling away, and so that will take a little bit of adjustment.
Well, it will for me as an astrologer for sure.
I know, it's what we were saying. We're like, uh-oh, now what?
Yeah, how do I
But something
calculate
else
birth
will
charts?
emerge. You
Yeah.
know, I was speaking with Debistry this morning, and she was reminding me, and I'm about the fact that with Shiva, it talks about with the breath that the 12 zodiacs are within the body, within the breath stages, which I didn't know, and that between the lunar and the solar cycles, there was these 11 days, which is his vibration, which is the chakra of time, and that we are now we are breathing, we're literally almost breathing in a whole new way. So it's that last gasping breath, the death of the old as we breathe in the new. And it's pretty exciting. Yeah,
Well,
so
you know,
perhaps, oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, perhaps on an astrological level and in your work, that too is going to shift, and we can't see it yet, just like we can't fully embody and see our gifts as our avatar self and completeness. There's going to be a whole new map for you to work with. It just hasn't shown up yet.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No pressure there then. But it's it's very interesting. The death light code is coming. I can't remember the date it ends. It starts on the 19th of January, I know, and it runs for 3 weeks. So I can't quite remember the date it ends, but it's running into a huge number of planets in Aquarius, which is about the future vision and the new. And there's a big solar eclipse in Aquarius as well, which is very powerful. Just before Saturn and Neptune become exactly conjunct at zero of Aries, pure potentiality, a whole new beginning. And we haven't had them at that degree point, as you know, for about 6,000 years, Heather Ainsworth's research. So, there's such a sense of new beginnings, particularly starting February onwards, pretty much as you finish the Death Light Code. So hey presto.
Well, I know it's crazy. So we have the death light code where we really do that final letting go. Then, as you're saying, we're moving into this time of February, and then Raphael has us going into the resurrection light code, rebirth, new beginnings. So it's complete, and Heather Ensworth is going to be teaching in between that. So it all lines up as always. It's somehow divinely, completely always perfect. And when they tell you 6 months ahead that January is death, you're like, oh, death. But it's always perfect and it's just what everybody needs. It's amazing.
Well, and once we get into the channeling, I'm going to be asking you about, about getting into March, etc., because there's some very strong astrology March as well. So, and you've talked about the new children coming in, who you've said that they're going to be full of light. They're going to remember where they came from. They're going to spontaneously speak different languages, which is going to be beautiful. And they're going to be our teachers, aren't they? The older generation, but it seems that because of all you've said also about the plasma coming from distant star systems via our sun, and our sun is acting as a transmitter of that plasma to activate our DNA and lengthen our telomeres. It seems that we are moving fairly rapidly towards the light body, and with the lengthening of the telomeres, which David Clements, interestingly enough, has also talked about, that potentially this is going to lengthen our lives, make us healthier, maybe even hold us at a certain age or even reverse our age to some extent. Can you share a little more about that, Kelly?
Yeah, well, we can ask Raphael, but that was kind of coming in today around death, because our death will be different. You
Wow.
know, the amount of time that we ha that our breath will change, and our breath is related, of course, to the first breath, the last breath, our life in between, and the expansion of that. And as we change our relationship to death and move into a deeper understanding of our conscious death, that then our actual physical death, as we remove fear from death and really align with our eternal remembering of that we are eternal as we are in our full light body, our need to have that transition of the physical body and the way that we have in the past, they're showing that too is going to change. The way that our soul transfers from our body through the timelines into other states of consciousness, and the length of time that we may live on a biological level, or our need to continue the rebirth, death rebirth cycle in the way that we always have, may be expanded or extended. So it's quite fascinating, and I'm not sure how what all the different pieces will be that will come in to support us in that. Um, but a much greater awareness as we're in our light body, as our avatar self, of the fact that we are these eternal beings, and much more conscious of our choice around when we're ready to leave the body behind, and that we do it in a conscious way as we step through, and our consciousness moves then into the next dimension or the next body or realm or experience. So, a very different way of perceiving our death, our relationship to death when people are dying on their deathbed, the grieving process when someone is no longer here with us, our relationship to people who are who have passed away. All of that feels like it's shifting our relationship to it, and it's pretty beautiful. And if we begin to come much more into awareness and remembering and living each day from that space of, if today was my last day.
Yeah, that's increased consciousness is beautiful because, of course, we look back to the ascended masters or the very advanced yogis. They just chose their moment of death, didn't they? Their moment of exit, and did it with great consciousness. So that's really exciting to feel that we're moving towards that, and that will give us a completely different view of death, of course, that it's just a transition, and not have the kind of grieving in, particularly in Western countries, that we've had. I think the Eastern countries deal with it in a much kinder way than we have. I think we get traumatized by it in the West, so that's absolutely fascinating. So I'd love, if you're happy to do it, Kelly, to move into some channeling. Is that okay now?
Of course, yeah. So just takes me a minute. For those who are never heard me channel, I'm going to make some toning sounds, and then I'll say hello to Pam. And wherever you are in the world, if you want to say hello, that taps you into Archangel Raphael's energy field, and then Raphael will answer your questions.
If everyone can just take a few deep breaths to give Kelly the space to move in to connect with Archangel Raphael, um, and then we'll be together again.
Sorry, 1 minute.
No problem. Take as long as you like.
Hmm. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
We are very delighted, as always, to be here and to attune to you and your magnificent and beautiful energy, as we have been working with you in other realms and connecting from our heart to your heart with enormous love and gratitude and deep appreciation for who it is that you are at the soul level, and are deeply delighted to be here in this now moment to communicate with you and all of those who are here in the witnessing and listening of our transmission. And so, what is it you are wanting to speak of?
Oh, Archangel Raphael, it is an absolute honor and joy to be with you as always, and thank you for those beautiful opening words. Very deeply touched by that. In the past, you've mentioned that water is leading our consciousness. And of course, it will exceed any new technology that's coming in. And I'd love you to talk a little more about how water is leading our consciousness. I suspect it always has, but we haven't been very conscious of it. Can you tell us more about that and how we might interact with water more fully to help that process?
Well, it loves you. The water loves you, and it unifies everything, for it is within all things, and of course, within you. And so it is the great unifier. It brings you and every other living being of consciousness into a unified field of frequency, and it is a great transmitter, a delivery of information that is encoded, and it carries these codes of information through all living things, in which unites you into a unified field. The water is shifting as you are shifting, for of course it is always a mirrored reflection of who it is that you are. And as it is rising from within the inner core of the earth, these ancient old primordial waters are bubbling up. And as there will be changes, as you are aware of, not in a fearful way, but in a way in which there will be movement on your planet, and openings will take place in which ancient waters will rise from deep within the core of the earth that are carrying codes that have been dormant. And when these codes rise and move into the circulatory system, and then are received in different ways through all of you, they will be sending you messages, wisdom, teachings, knowledge, and information that will be supporting your evolution. But not only are you receiving them from deep within the core, there are waters that are descending as you speak from the galactic realms that have been carried by energy systems that are delivering codes as well. And in addition to that, there are ancient memories that hold deep and profound wisdom within the ice and on the great mountain tops in the Himalayas, and also in the icebergs and places in which will be melting. And through this melting process, these codes of information will also be released. So not only are you moving into deeper relationship with the water itself in communication as a tool and an asset for you to embody it and program it through the consciousness of your thoughts to create love and to send signals and information to others within your sphere of influence and attunement to radiate light and to amplify the consciousness. But in addition to that understanding and profound process in which you now can consciously choose to engage in, more information within the water itself is becoming more available to you. Just as the veil has lifted in your connection and communication to higher dimensions and realms, in a sense, the water's veil has lifted. The memories of the water, the encoded teachings, the ancient understanding, the galactic frequencies, the wisdom and knowledge that is deeply profound, potent, powerful, and ancient is rising up from within the core of the earth. It is descending from the galactic realm, and it is coming in from the earth plane. So it is culminating or coming into you in all directions, from below as above, and also within your own plane through the melting of the ice and the runoff from the mountains of the ancient codes, especially of energies that will be shifting in the Himalayas, where a deep, profound teaching teachings from some of the greatest masters who have encoded memories within the snow of these caps will start to have a runoff, and that information then will be carried through the systems and through the rivers and into the ocean waters and in through the evaporation, and then will be rained upon and received, and you will be drinking it in your drinking water. And so coming into communion, connection, and relationship to your water when it is pouring over you during the time of cleansing or bathing, or you are receiving it through drinking, of course, or you are spending time with it in a natural setting, is of the utmost importance, because as you acknowledge what it is sharing with you and you become in relationship to it by loving it, and your love from the coherence of your heart amplifies its energy, and then it carries it with more vigor across the globe through the ley lines, creating repair within the ley lines themselves and through the corridors of different places and rivers and toxicities that have been potent within the streams of your water systems, creating healing. And so when we often have spoken about a spontaneous healing, a quickening healing in the blink of an eye, the greatest conduit, the greatest force, energy that can ignite that for you is your relationship of your consciousness of receiving the messages and the ancient codes from the water, and then relating to it through communication and attunement and appreciation and love for it, as it then carries those codes in an amplified field to all those around the globe.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, Archangel Raphael. So this will help us become more multidimensional. And as we bless that water, we can also help to perhaps activate others who may consume that water too, because it obviously passes through us back into the system and to wherever as the great connector. Is that true?
Yes, and it also will create a stronger relationship between you and your galactic star families, a stronger relationship with you and the elementals, a stronger relationship to you in the animal kingdom, the crystal kingdom, the plant kingdom, because it is the common denominator that links all of you together as one. And as you receive the information that they are sending to you, because they are fully awake and conscious, as the understanding that they can use this conduit of energy, this water, to communicate with you. When you acknowledge it by loving it, it's like you're sending a signal back. I've got it. I've heard you. I hear the codes. I receive the information. I love you. And you begin to create a pulsation of communication between all living beings and all living things, not only within your own dimensional field, but as you're saying, in multidimensional realities. And so it is extraordinarily important, and it is very easy and simple. It just requires a willingness, a consciousness of an attunement of perhaps just a moment of blessing. Just under a minute itself is enough, through the intent and the coherence in the heart of radiating love, that alone will create an enormous quickening in your ascension process on the earth.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And of course, it's free for everyone. Simple, easy, free for everyone. And I remember you saying at one point that if 35% of the global population blessed its water, then we would move very rapidly towards unity consciousness.
Aha, it would be almost instantaneous.
Wow.
It does not take much, but perhaps from our perspective of where it is that you are now, the conscious awareness of those who literally and figuratively daily bless and take the time every single day to honor, to bless, to communicate, to commune with the water is very small. But it could quickly change through just one person now listening to this, choosing to bless their water every day and to bless their bathing water, and to bless the river or the ocean or wherever it is that they are. It sends signals and it will be exponential. So the water will become more potent in its relationship and the call to it will become more magnetized. You'll be more magnetized toward its frequency because as it gains potency, it'll have the capacity to pull, to attract more awareness toward it. And deeply intuitively, others will start to feel a wanting to do this without even needing to know or to be told. They will just start to return to their ancient rememberings and their ways of being, for it is, of course, a very natural way of being, of the blessing of the water, for it is in all traditions.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and bring back a lot of ancient wisdom to us as well. Beautiful, and you also said, Archangel Raphael, that those jumps in consciousness made possible for us via the water and also these new cosmic frequencies coming in will way exceed any artificial technology.
We want to reiterate the importance of not giving so much energy and attention, not you, but in general, to this artificial intelligence because it is exactly that artificial. And it has no, it is not in any way in comparison to the capacity of who you are at the spirit level, at the biological level, at the human level, at the organic level, and the abilities in which you can activate within you and are activating as you are fully aligning, attuning, and stepping into the divine essence and the remembering of who you are, of your light body. You will leave behind in the dust these energies, although they may be tools to support you on your journey. There is fear that they will take over your experience, and that is one timeline of those who will deeply get embedded in them, who are not grounded in the fullness of their own self. But for many, it will be a bleep in history in which it will come and go back out because you will be moving at a much more rapid pace to the full embodiment of the avatar that you are, in which case the interfacing on these particular levels in which there is concern about will be negligible in comparison to that in which you will be embodying within your own energetic field and the capacities that you carry through your own DNA outweighs anything that is created on an artificial level.
That's really good to hear. Wonderful. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. And I just want to sort of come back on something I was asking Kelly a few moments ago about you've spoken about the plasma energies coming in from other star systems via our own sun as the transmitter and activating our DNA and also helping to make our telomeres longer, which would lead to a longer life for us, improve our health, hold or even reverse our age as we move forwards. Can you speak a little more about that too, please?
Well, there is a lot, in a sense, going on behind the scenes, should we say. And sometimes it's difficult to put human words to what is truly transpiring on many levels, for you are receiving enormous support from the galactic realms, and your attunement and connection to them will become stronger and stronger. And often, in alignment with that, the sun is a way of releasing and bringing these codes, this plasma that is coming from many other dimensional realities and systems to be received in the most gentle way, to be absorbed by all of you on an energetic level that stimulates and moves you into a higher state of consciousness in increments that you are able to integrate and receive without perhaps blowing out your circuits because of its relationship with you and your attunement to it. It knows how to filter through and your what is coming through in a way that can be received with the perfect amount of vibration, temperature, activation that you are able to hold at any given moment. But you will continue to see amplification of solar activity and connection. But there is also a change happening in the electromagnetic field of your Earth itself, and also around the poles and the atmosphere, and that which is coming in and its capacity to come in at a much higher level. And it is coming in and it is divinely orchestrated on purpose in this way to arrive in increments that you will be able to receive it at. But it will at times feel like a bombardment of vibrations and sometimes can feel a bit like an overwhelm. But these are bursts of energies that are pushing you through your metamorphosis, your transformation, in a quickening state. And the sun is one of these beautiful delivery systems of plasma to support you in this unfolding. And we encourage all of you very much so to be in the sun. We know that you have been told to not be near it or that it could be too dangerous to have it around you. But it is important at the early waking mornings of the sunrise and at the time of the sunset to step out and to look at to the horizon and to align with that energy, because that is a time in which you can absorb these codes to the best of your capacity. And it is very supportive in closing down the original two eyes as it opens the third eye more, and the senses of the inner senses start to awaken. And so part of its process and work with all of you is the awakening of senses that have been deadened within the energetic body, that have been very literal in their interpretation, to become more subtle, to be more inward, for the codes to awaken spaces and ways of interpretation and perspective that have been dormant for a period of time, in which the lens of your perception and your communication and your understanding begins to move more into a collective and unified way of being rather than a separate way. And this energy will be supportive in this transformation.
Wow, it's just sensational. Thank you so much, Raphael, for this beautiful wisdom. I so appreciate it. I'd like to move now to firstly February, because February is a very powerful month. We have a very, we will have finished the Death Light Code as we move into February as well in the first couple of weeks. And we have a lot of new energy starting in February. We have a lot of Aquarian energy. We have a big solar eclipse just 3 days before a very important Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 of Aries, which Western tropical astrologers see as pure potentiality, the very first degree of the zodiac. And that, to me, as an astrologer, feels immensely important as a new beginning. So we've had the winter solstice, the Capricorn solstice, and now in February we have this powerful new beginning. Can you talk a little more about that, and any information you may be able to share with us about the energy of February?
Well, it is very raw. It is the raw potential. It is the spirit. It is the horse in which you will be riding. But you're taking an interim right now before you get on it, because you can't carry with you the energies of the past. There is an unzipping that is taking place, a releasing of old patterns, of old energies that cannot be carried forward into this new vibration. As you enter into this time at the end of February, you are literally arising. You are beginning anew. You are starting over. You have fully stepped over that threshold. You are coming up onto the horse. You are ready to take that sprint in which things will begin to move, and you will be galloping at a quickened pace through the rest of the year. It is that is why we are bringing in the resurrection light code, because you are resurrecting. You are beginning. It is rebirth. It is newness that is arising, and the direction in which you are going you will have the wind at your back. You will move very quickly with great speed, but it is vital that prior to that you are in preparation before getting on that raw, intense, beautiful new energy, that you have a clear pathway as to where it is that you are going, what you are riding to, what it is you are embodying, what it is that you are bringing back to life, what it is that you are resurrecting. Because once you get on that horse and you feel the momentum of that vibration, which is this raw, beautiful energy, energy, and the spirit of that is wild and free, and it wants to carry you through the rest of the year with the wind, with the support, with the galactic beings, with our help from the angelic realm as wings of light on your back, guiding you forward into an entire new way of being. It is very important that you utilize this time prior to that in preparation, in releasing, in attunement, in letting go, because you are feeling that death of the last breath, but then the new breath, the first breath, the breath taken at the time in which you are born, the one in which you are beginning anew, is the energy that you are going to be feeling. And that beautiful energy is the energy that's going to be carrying you through the year. And with it, so many exciting things are going to happen along the way. But like any horse that is wild and free, you have to come into alignment with it. You must merge with it. It must feel respected. There may not be any sudden moves with it. It must feel calm with you. It won't work with you if you are agitated. It will feel your emotions. It will be guided by them. You will need to be in a sense of alignment with your direction, with a sense of boundary, with power, with steadiness, with your frequency, with discipline as you are moving forward. Because if you come in a chaotic energy and you meet that raw energy, without direction, it will move up or it could throw you from it because it's wild and free. And so you're utilizing this time between now and the end of February to prepare your energetic body to come up upon that horse, to merge with it, to soothe it, to be in alignment with it, for your emotions to merge with it, to feel in attunement with it. And then it will carry you through magnificent realms. And not only is it a horse that will gallop along the shores of these magnificent beaches into the horizons of new beginnings, but upon it are wings, as it will fly like a unicorn through the galactic realms. For doorways in the galactic entrance points will be opening throughout the year, and gateways you shall be passing through, and new opportunities shall be opening. So for those who have been working towards something or wanting to create something in relationship to alignment with service to humanity, in alignment with their divine purpose, with their truth, with their authenticity, there will be nothing that will be able to stop it, for the momentum will be with you and you will move rapidly. But prior to that is the passageway through the three death portals as you release, 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 so that when you come on, you are ready, that you have your gear on, that you are clear, that your direction is in front of you, and that you can move with ease and grace in the most graceful and beautiful way, in attunement and alignment with that energy that will be arising at the end of February, that will continue to grow through the equinox and the solstice, that will peak in the summer as it rises very high, and then it begins to descend for a bit into the fall as you move into some other energies, as you will be going up and down as if you were riding up these beautiful mountains and then descending back down. And you will just be following this course that will open up space into new realms and ways of being ahead of you that are magnificent and beautiful, as you will be on pathways that you have not been on before, that you will be opening into new territory, as if the horse will take you into lands that have never been walked on, into spaces that have never been seen, into the pristine, into the pure, into the galactic frequencies, as there will be unveiling and revealing of places, frequencies, energies, ways of beings, and ideas, that an innovation that will be coming in, that will be very new, that will be profound, that will be igniting you as a collective, as a human race, into an entire new way of being.
Gosh, I can't wait. It's beyond exciting. So that suggests, Archangel Raphael, that the collapse of the old order, the old world, will be very accelerated in the first couple of months of this year. Is that correct? You talked about the fall of leaders.
Yes, it will be very accelerated. And for some of you, it will be very strongly in your view. For others, it will be in the peripheral view. It will be behind you. It'll be as something that you are aware of, but it is just crumbling behind you as you are riding out on your horse ahead of it. But there will be awareness for all around the planet. Some of the two major powers that you speak of that are players on your planet that you label and distinguish as countries, which eventually will change, where these ideas of countries and borders in this way will no longer be as you move more into a unified remembering of your own our own selves of complete compassion and love for one another. But as you are still in this state of polarity and angst upon one another, there will be power grabs from some of the larger known countries, such as China and the United States and even Russia, will begin to move their, like they're playing a game on a chessboard for a period of time. But this is the very old way of being, of territory, of war, of a sense of wanting to own something that is themselves, to hoard things, to feel powerful on a chessboard. But this old way of being is dying. And so these last power plays are like the last gasping of the old structures. And this will show up in finance, it will show up in land, in oil, in many different things. But it is nothing to be worried about or afraid of. We encourage all of you who are held in the spheres of light and have chosen this path of ascension and are operating on this higher timeline to be loving witnesses to this, but not to engage in the drama, in the chaos, not to amplify it or to encourage it, but to see it as you are riding out on your horse into the sunset of this beautiful horizon. Behind you in the rear view mirror as it falls away with lovingly understanding and compassion for the recognition that of course there would be a need to grasp on to it is collapsing, to hold on to what is familiar. And that is something that will also be happening on a personal level, and it is not something to be seen as negative, because you have for a long period of time operated in a certain structure, in a certain agreed framework, in a collective understanding and a collective consciousness of how things worked personally, collectively, globally, and even galactically. And as all of that is disappearing, as it is dissolving, there are processes that we want to work with all of you to encourage you in your willingness to let go of what has been, to release it, to surrender to the old, and to open up the pathways and these doorways to the new without judging the fact that those last power grabs may start coming in, because that it would make sense to hold on to what is familiar, to feel a sense of safety, because in the past the safety came from something external. The safety came from having lots of things or feeling somehow secure. But the new security will not be from the numbers or the digits in the bank account, or they will not come from a safety that can easily be thwarted or ripped out from beneath you. The security, of course, will be coming from the simplicity of your own inner remembering, your own inner knowing, the power of your own breath, the stillness in between, the place of spaciousness, the remembering of your eternal self, the knowing of who you are at this much larger scale, where all of this does not really matter, where the attachment falls away. And the impermanence is right before you at all times, and the breath comes into full awareness. And then you move with ease and grace as you climb upon the horse and you gallop out into new horizons, new ways of perception and being, without judgment as to that in which is falling behind. And in knowing knowing that that is part of the shedding of the snake. It is part of the releasing of what has been before your new ride into the horizon, and that it is important to face it, to heal it, to feel it, to see it, to own it, to recognize it so that it can finally be fully and completely released.
Mm. Gosh, this is so inspiring, Archangel Raphael. I feel like probably many people listening that this is just the real beginning of our life, actually, whatever age we're at. So it's immensely inspiring. And of course, it echoes the myth of Sedna, the dwarf planet Sedna, as well, to release what has been the old security. So I'd love to move to March now, because as we know, 3i Atlas moves to its closest point to Jupiter on March 16th as it exits our solar system. And Jupiter at that time is not only in its exalted sign of Cancer, but at the very degree of the entire zodiac, 15 degrees of Cancer, at which it is most exalted. And by exalted, it means that Jupiter is operating at its optimum, at its best. It's to do with wisdom, future vision, interconnectedness, etc. So I wonder if you can share with us. I know you've said already that it will be depositing some natural compounds from other star systems onto our Earth, and that will help to accelerate these biological changes for us. But anything else you can share with us about the importance of passing Jupiter on the 16th of March as it exits?
Ah, well, it will be activating the ancient wisdom. And so the ancient energy or wisdom that we were speaking of that is held within the water, that is coming to fruition as it is rising, as it is melting, and it is also descending, is in going to be receiving through AI Atlas, has this incredible capacity to align with the planets and amplify their vibration, their frequency, to merge with them, and then to release energies that will be falling in a sense, or be received by what the energies that has interacted with it here on your earth. And so let's try and see if we can explain this in the best way possible, because we're finding the language for it in your deeper understanding here. But it is that Jupiter carries ancient codes of knowledge and wisdom and teachings that have been dormant, much like when we were speaking of the dormant wisdom keepers of energy within the snow or within the ice or the primordial waters that are rising. And so this is activating that. It is deeply in conjunction or in alignment with the water and with the water element at this time, that has not been the peace yet that 3i Atlas has really amplified. And so you'll see lots of what you might call water events at this time, whether that be flooding coming in from different places or storms arising, as they will be carrying from the tail of Atlas itself information that will come from its interaction with Jupiter. But this is not literal in the way that we are explaining it here, for we cannot find the full language to fully give to you what we are wanting to say. But what we can tell you is that 3i Atlas has not come to completion in its job and is a very important character in the evolution of your journey, and that many more energies similar to this will be coming into your orbit, into your solar system, will be connecting and communicating with you in years to come, and that this is the first of many. But it has brought your awareness to this space, and you have not received the effects of it fully yet. It will take a period of time. You'll start to feel some of these effects in March, but you will be continuously feeling them throughout the rest of the year. But as it passes through Jupiter, it will be activating within your water many of these ancient codes, but they are also connected to teachings that are in attunement with the galactics, very much so, for they have stored information here. And this information then will be interacting and will be sent to you in ways that for some may feel more tangible than for others, but will have a profound impact on human life, on your biology, and on your planet as a whole.
Wow, that's fascinating because, of course, Jupiter's in Cancer. It's a water sign connected to the seas, the oceans, etc. But also, Jupiter in Cancer symbolically is connected to ancestral wisdom as well. So that's right on the money in terms of how you were sharing that too. Oh gosh, Archangel Raphael, and then when we move to the Aries equinox again, a year from when this conception of this new consciousness started in March 2025, March 2026, when we have the Aries equinox again, we have a huge number of planets in Aries, which is the sign of ignition, new beginnings, initiation. And this feels like yet another level of rebirth for humanity. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, for I have a timed that so that you will all be in the resurrection light code at that precise moment. And that, of course, is also the fire of the resurrection, the light, the plasmic, the codes, the rebirth, the new beginnings. But we will practice as you are moving through the death code, dying, and then being reborn. For as many of your great avatars understood how to take the last breath and then to ignite the next new breath and to move into a death state while not leaving the physical body, but releasing all that has been that is no longer needing to be carried as they were moving into their light body. So as you climb upon the horse in the resurrection light code and you begin to gallop forward in the direction as with great speed into the coming year, as that is from our perspective the actual beginning of the year during that time of the equinox and the resurrection flame, you will start to feel the light body in a different way. You'll begin to perceive the light coming off of the hands. You'll start to see little twitchings in the eyes. The old eyes will be shutting as the third eye is opening. Your inner senses will be awakening. But in the birthing process, we went through the 9 months of gestation coming into the birthing. But in the death, prior to the death, whether you're conscious or unconscious of this, there are 9 months that the soul prepares for death, for the releasing of the physical body as it transcends into and is resurrected. But that time has shortened as you will be doing it January, February, March. Within these next 3 months, you will be in that transition period, that releasing of the old paradigm. And that is why Shiva's vibration of the energy of working with the wheel of time will be coming in, as time will be changing and collapsing, and your understanding of past, future, and present will be moving into a singularity point of a new way of perception. You will need to orient yourself to that and literally practice as the avatars did as well, being on your own deathbed and then arising or resurrecting again, and that space in between, and the death of the old, as Shiva is the end. He is the ending of the cycle, the ending of he is the destroyer, the destructive energy that then brings you into the beauty of the silence, of the space, of the breath, of the in-between, as Kalki, the great avatar, appears on his horse at the end of the Kali Yuga, where he carries you through the cosmos, through the galactic realms on his horse. And that is why it is the year of the one. That is why it is the new beginning. That is why you are riding the horse. That is why I brought you on the galactic white horse, to begin to attune you to that energy of the galactic realms and to rise and to ride on that unicorn unicorn, to move through the ring pass knot and through the concentric circles of light into the realms of the new ways of being, so that you are prepared as you came to this place to unzip, in which you will releasing your old patterns in the death. You will let go of what has been, that grasping on or that holding on to old ways of being, whether it is an emotional pattern within your own body, whether it is the grief of a loved one, whether it is the grief of the way the world once was, or it is the fear of the future. And as that is released and you move into the presence, then you'll be prepared for what you are speaking of here, Pam, as you are moving into the spring equinox, which is actually the beginning of the new year, which is the resurrection energy, where then, as the avatar, that you were born at the time of the winter solstice, that energy of who it is that you are and the fullness of your being is more actualized as you can then fully embody it and begin to amplify, grow, harness, what would be the word, learn more about these gifts and go into deep teachings, so that they become stronger, more powerful, more prominent, more alive, so that they are not just thoughts of telepathic communication or instantaneous healing or quickening of manifestation, but they are truly your reality.
Well, it really does feel like this is why we came. This is the real beginning of our life from this point on. This is why we're here at this time. It's absolutely profound. And Raphael, just in closing the channeling, do you have any final messages for us in terms of navigating 2026? Because presumably, the calmer and more peaceful we feel, the better we will ride this wild horse and stay away from agitation. So, can you give us any other thoughts about navigating this year?
We are encouraging you to come to your breath. For when you merge with the horse, it feels and knows you through your breath. And as your breath is calm, as your breath is steady, as your inhale is smooth, as your exhale is long, you move into a state of calmness. The last breath and the new breath, the space in between, the stillness. When you bring your emotions into balance and you release your fear, knowing that perhaps your greatest fear in itself could be death, but that there is no death, that you are eternal, and that when you can fully release any anxiety around that or your future, in the presence of easing and falling into the arms of the primordial mother as she embraces and loves you in the presence of now, knowing that right now, here in this moment, you are held, you are loved, you are safe in this presence. And as you move into the presence through the breath, you attune to this beautiful, raw, wild, spirited horse that will carry you into realms and places that you have never been before, with beauty, excitement, magic, synchronicity, and flow. So we encourage you to let go, release, open your heart, and know that all is well. We love you very deeply and dearly and are here to support you on your journey. Many blessings, much love, and good day.
Thank you so much. Kelly, that was profound. I mean, that was at such a high level of channeling. Your channeling just seems to get higher and higher level, but it was jam packed with incredibly magical information for this
Oh,
coming year, and so much excitement. Despite what's happening out there in the 3D world, so much inspiration, excitement, and so much for us to look forward to. It's just beyond our imagination because we've never lived that kind of experience before. We've never lived this in our physicality. And Archangel Raphael is really, with your beautiful channeling, is really leading us to a very magical, multidimensional existence that we are absolutely on the precipice of. So I just can't thank you enough. And Archangel Raphael, it was absolutely superlative.
Oh,
I
thank you
hope you
so
heard
much.
some of it because it was amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, when I was channeling, I was on the horse and they were taking me into these beautiful meadows filled with all these flowers and water. And it felt like these pristine places that were in another dimension that we're going to get to spend time in. It was really like glimpses of it. It was really beautiful. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
always think of ancient Lemuria, and everything is sort of made of crystal and reflective, and everything's in harmony and oneness. And we're right in it. We're right in this crucible of change at this very moment, and you are guiding us with so much love. And so I just can't thank you enough. And I'm so thrilled that we are such good friends, and we can share this for all the viewers, all the listeners out there who I hope will love it as much as I did, because it was fabulous. It was really wonderful.
Well, thank you. I'm just so deeply grateful to you and for sharing Raphael's messages with so many people, because without you, they would not have received to so many as they have. So thank you, Pam.
Right, my
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. I couldn't be more thrilled to do it, Kelly. So God bless you. Thank you so much for your generosity and your big loving heart. It's so appreciated.
Okay. Mwah.
So sending love to everybody out there, and yeah, and this is something I normally never ever say, but this was so beautiful. Please share it, because it's so positive for the world to hear. With all the negativity out there. So thank you so much, Kelly. Much love to all.
Much love. Bye.